Game number 1 is getting underway right now. We're going to find out if he can take on Greensheep because that's his next challenge in this one. And Greensheep, looking to put a win on the board, has that performance bonus to be chasing after as well.
Yeah, and a little bit of pride, like we said, too. No one wants to lose, and oh boy.
Yeah, going to punish him right away. You know, let's fast forward to game number 3. This is what I pictured happening. But in game number 1, if Greensheep is going to recognize that this is a realistic factor, I love this play from him.
Yeah, and this is something we've been seeing from him more. He's been playing more Grim Patron, and you know what? I don't blame him, and I'm not surprised by it. When you play aggressive decks like he does, and then you keep running into Grim Patron, you're going to be losing. Like, you're not a favorite in those matchups. And this is one of the things, when you keep losing to a deck, you're going to start playing it.
Well, yet not only that, but he's got such a great perspective on how to beat the aggressive decks. He's been on the other side of the board.
Yep.
He knows what the miserable plays are for him. He can just use that against his opponents.
Yeah, you've heard me talk about it before. One of my favorite ways to play test any matchup is to play it from both sides. So you get, understanding of full ranges at all times. And I have to believe Greensheep has done that a ton.
No question about it. And Powder, I like his play starting from turn 1. This will activate his Abusive Sergeant. Still makes great use of his coin. Is a much more resilient threat to Fiery War Axe. This was the play.
Yeah, this is 100% the play because it does, check things like this. Greensheep has Armorsmith, so now you get to Abusive Sergeant, take it out because you have to actually check these minions in this matchup. You can't let them sit around.
Yep, so Muster for battle. Potentially a very good draw here, but he's got to fade the right circumstance.
And it's not just because, Armorsmith gains life and you're an aggressive deck. It's a 1-4. That's a nightmare for this deck.
No, 1-4s are terrible against a bunch of 2-1s.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
Just play Silverback Patriarch. You're like, come on.
And now Powder's gonna get some bad news here, but
does get to have his shielded minibot hang around, and he gets to muster for battle afterwards. So I think he's actually pretty okay with this.
Haunted Creeper added to the deck, not always found in all of these builds, but pretty good in these kind of matchups. It's another little sticky minion.
Yeah. So he is going to get some damage in here, but Greensheep has Death Spite behind this, and this is what we were talking about with this matchup. Grim Patron is basically the Whirlwind deck, and this Aggro Paladin deck is basically the 1 health deck, and now he's got a Grim Patron to back behind this.
There was no better draw on his deck.
I don't know if Powder is actually even going to be able to win this game.
No, not anymore. Grim Patron, Inner Rage, and Whirlwind next turn. I mean, even here, like, what do you do this turn? Do you Haunted Creeper and make a token?
Do we get a Divine Favor?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's like
your
nothing...
Wild Growth idiot. Like, I don't think Arcane Golem's coming down.
That's what I'm saying. There are just no good plays. Like,
the benefit he has is that the Haunted Creeper came down after the Death Spite, so he's going to get tokens regardless of how Greensheep chooses to attack.
Yeah. Now making this play does kind of force. Yeah, you see the eyebrows go up from Powder here. Like he's like, yeah, I'm dead. And
this has been a lot of story of Powder season 2. His opponents seem to just always. It's not that Powder's getting unlucky. It's just that his opponents seem to always have it.
Yeah, not just that. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. His draws have just matched up so perfectly against what he's been facing that it's been so hard for him. I mean, just look at this board. Look how daunting this looks. And you're only at 2 more health than they are. You're at 22 and they're at 20.
Normally, Consecration looks great when you're facing a board like this, but Grim Patron's shut off that possibility.
Yeah.
Powder's going to try to fill up this board as much as he can, and so this will clear out some of these Grim Patrons. It's going to take the last 2 remaining ones to 3-1s. This is actually... he's going to have 1 more as a 3-3.
Well, the thing is, there's a Warsong Commander in Greensheep's hand, and he has 2 1-1s in play.
That's really the downside of this. Is, again, Powder's opponents seem to just always have it.
Just draws a Whirlwind, too. Like, why not?
Now, this is really the nail in the coffin right here.
Whirlwind's just like a lot of extra
help. Look at Powder's reaction, too. Like, okay.
Well, I mean, he did what he had to do. It's the only way he could possibly win the game. And if Greensheep doesn't have Warsong Commander there, you're at least somewhat in the game.
Yep. Anyway, he's dealing with this board position. He's down. He's going down to 7. His opponent's at 18.
He's practically drawing dead here.
Yep. There's got to be something that could draw here, right? I'm not necessarily in his deck, just a card that he could have drawn.
You mean in all of Hearthstone?
Yeah. Hellfire, I guess. Hellfire would have been pretty good. Powder just going to do what he can, but at the end of the day, it's not going to work. So Greensheep going to take a quick game number 1 here, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. You get these kinds of draws, there's no stopping you.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem in this deck. When it gets this draw, you just cannot win with Aggro Paladin.
Which is what makes it so interesting to me that people keep playing this deck, is because, again, I think it's very good versus basically everything else, but the most played deck that's out there, it's not performing against.
It matters if you think Greensheep's going to play this deck game 1. It's great in mirror matches, and it's really good against Druid, which Greensheep has played in game 1 of almost all of his last prior matches.